the right to prosper, the quantum science of abundance. When we pause to truly reflect on prosperity, we begin to realize that it isn't merely a social aspiration or an economic target. It is, in fact, a natural expression of life itself, an unfolding impulse of the universe to expand beyond limitation. More than 100 years ago, Wallace Wattles intuited this truth and declared that abundance is not an illusion or a privilege, but a universal principle as real as gravity, or the invisible forces that hold the cosmos together. Today, through the language of quantum physics, we can see more clearly that everything vibrates, and wealth is nothing but the ordered manifestation of this continuous dance of energy-seeking harmony. But before we move forward, I want to extend a heartfelt invitation. Subscribe to this channel and give this video a like. Though simple, this act carries a symbolic power. It is a vibrational signal, both to the digital space we share and to the wider universe itself, affirming that you value content that uplifts consciousness and invites growth. At the same time, it allows this message to ripple outward, reaching people you may never meet but whose lives may be touched by these ideas. Think of it as casting a stone into still water. The ripples move farther than your eyes can follow, carrying light and transformation to distant shores. The essence of this journey is not about chasing shortcuts to accumulate possessions. It is about uncovering an inner state where the creative flow of life aligns seamlessly with the opportunities of the material world. Wattles described this as thinking in a certain way, and through today's lens we might call it coherence, when intention, feeling, and action resonate together like notes in the same chord. In that alignment, reality begins to organize itself, arranging people, circumstances, and events in ways that appear synchronistic, yet are deeply connected to the vibration you sustain. Consider for a moment how nature itself operates. A seed, small and unassuming, contains the silent drive to become a tree. It doesn't question whether it deserves to grow. It simply follows the silent rhythm of expansion written into its very being. There is no guilt, no hesitation, only the certainty of unfolding. You too hold within you a similar code, an invisible invitation to grow, to flourish, to prosper. Recognizing this innate call is the very first step toward understanding that prosperity is not a luxury granted to a few, but an intrinsic right of existence itself. In this journey, we will explore ideas that build bridges between science and spirituality, reinterpreting Wattles's pioneering vision through the vibrational language of quantum mechanics. Abundance, when viewed from this broader perspective, is not something limited by competition. It is a boundless field of possibilities, waiting for the one who learns how to see, how to imagine, and how to step into conscious action. From this place of awareness, anxiety gives way to clarity, and struggle transforms into a sense of genuine partnership with life itself. So, prepare yourself to dive into concepts that gently challenge limiting beliefs. As we progress through these blocks, you'll encounter practical insights, how to cultivate thoughts that align with your highest vision, how to nurture gratitude until it becomes a daily state of resonance, and how to turn simple decisions into powerful acts of creation. Each phrase here is meant to serve as both reminder and invitation. to let abundance stop being just an abstract idea and instead become a living experience, present in every breath, every intention, and every choice that honors the immense potential within you. The universal principle of abundance. When Wallace Wattles wrote about the right to be rich, he wasn't merely speaking of coins, possessions, or the visible measures of wealth. He was pointing toward a principle far deeper, one that transcends material labels. The truth that the universe itself is, by nature, generous and expansive. Modern physics supports this ancient intuition, showing that at the quantum level, there exists an infinite ocean of potential energy, a living matrix that quietly permeates all things. Within this invisible field reside codes of order and possibility, which, when observed with clarity and intention, collapse into tangible forms. To prosper, then, is first and foremost to learn how to interact consciously with this matrix of creation. Notice how this understanding shifts the way we see prosperity. Instead of viewing wealth as a rare prize reserved for a chosen few, we begin to recognize it as an open current, available to anyone who tunes their inner world with awareness. Just as a musician must tune their instrument before playing in harmony with an orchestra, we too must align our inner frequencies, our beliefs, emotions, and intentions, so that the melody of abundance resonates freely through the symphony of our lives. Have you ever observed how some people seem to attract opportunities almost effortlessly? It rarely has to do with blind luck. More often, they have cultivated an inner disposition that allows them to recognize openings where others see only closed doors or obstacles. This is one of Wattles's most profound insights. Prosperity is not the result of anxious striving, but the outcome of a state of mind and heart that cooperates with the creative laws of the universe. When your inner atmosphere is one of coherence, life reflects it with synchronicity and flow. A simple yet powerful practice to begin aligning yourself with this principle is to pay attention to the moments in your day when you feel genuine gratitude. Gratitude functions like a bridge between your awareness and the quantum field, shifting your focus away from lack and toward appreciation of what already is. In that recognition, you signal to the universe that you are awake to abundance, and in turn, you create space for more of it to manifest. Wattles described gratitude as a silent engine, one that sustains the creative mind and keeps its flame burning bright. Another key insight is to expand the definition of prosperity itself. True abundance cannot be confined to money alone. It includes vibrant health, meaningful relationships, emotional balance, creativity, and the fulfillment of your potential. Quantum physics describes the universe as a field of ever-expanding information and possibility. To prosper, therefore, is to consciously participate in that expansion, to allow your awareness to widen the boundaries of what is possible, and to embrace the richness of life in its many dimensions. As we go deeper, you may begin to realize that this subject is not simply about wealth. It is an invitation to reevaluate the paradigms we inherited. Many of us were raised to believe that seeking abundance is selfish, or that virtue lies only in sacrifice and renunciation. Yet Wattles reminds us of a profound truth. poverty does not serve the world. When you step into fullness, financial, emotional, or spiritual, you create the conditions to inspire, to teach, to uplift, and to multiply good in the lives of others. In this context, becoming rich is not an act of greed, but a gesture of generosity toward life itself. Prosperity as an expression of life. When we look carefully at nature, we see that prosperity is not a luxury or an exception. It is part of the very rhythm of existence. The river does not apologize for running freely, and the tree does not hesitate before stretching its branches toward the sun. Wallace Wattles often said that life itself finds joy in expansion, and in human beings, this expansion reveals itself as the drive to improve conditions, to learn, to create, and to express more of what is possible. From a quantum perspective, this natural tendency mirrors the endless flow of information and potential that exists in the field, waiting for the observer who can shape it into reality. To prosper, then, is not to go against the grain of spirituality or morality. It is to align with the very architecture of the universe. When you allow yourself to flourish, you become a collaborator with the higher intelligence that orchestrates the dance of atoms, tides, forests, and galaxies. There is no contradiction between spirituality and abundance, because both are nourished by the same creative energy. To deny growth is like blocking the course of a river. Stagnation takes over. This is why Wattles insisted that seeking wealth was not a selfish act, but a responsibility toward the vital principle that animates every soul. This understanding dissolves the guilt that so often shadows the desire for a richer, more fulfilling life. It isn't about collecting possessions for vanity's sake. It is about opening wider channels for life to circulate more freely through you. Think of the contrast between a well-tended garden and one left to wither. Both receive the same sun and the same rain. Yet only one thrives because someone chose to nurture and direct its growth. Prosperity, in much the same way, requires this conscious, loving attention. In quantum physics, there is a concept called the collapse of the wave function, the moment when infinite probabilities crystallize into one specific outcome. Your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions act like lenses, bringing definition to what once existed only as possibility. Each aligned gesture, no matter how small, is like a beam of light organizing scattered particles into form. In that moment, you are not a passive observer. You are a conscious participant in creation itself, a co-creator of your lived experience. You might try, for instance, setting aside a few quiet minutes each morning to reflect on what you wish to expand in your life. Not only in material terms, but also in wisdom, vitality, joy, or projects that serve others. Visualize these intentions as seeds planted in fertile soil, and feel gratitude in advance for their growth. This practice, which echoes Wattles' teachings, now finds support in modern neuroscience, showing that the brain strengthens its circuits for action and achievement when it consistently rehearses vivid mental images. Remember this truth. Prosperity is not a final destination waiting at the end of a road. It is an ongoing state of alignment with the abundance that permeates everything around you. Each conscious choice you make is an affirmation that you are willing to move in harmony with that flow. It is a partnership between your clear intention and the universe's creative response. And when you honor this right to prosper, you do more than transform your own path. You become a living point of light, quietly inspiring others to awaken to the same power within themselves. Inner wealth and outer expansion. Wallace Wattles reminded us that true wealth is born first in the invisible realm. Before anything takes form in the physical world, it exists as an idea, a vibrant possibility already alive in the unseen. This principle aligns with the discoveries of quantum physics, which describe the universe as an ocean of potentials waiting to collapse into form under the gaze of a conscious observer. When we cultivate inner images of prosperity, clarity, and contribution, we send signals into this vast quantum field, shaping the conditions that eventually manifest as tangible realities in our lives. Picture a sculptor standing before a massive block of marble. The masterpiece already exists, silently waiting inside the stone, needing only the artist's decisive hands to reveal it. Wealth operates in the same way. It is a latent form in the field of consciousness, awaiting your choice to carve it into visibility. That first movement does not happen outside. It happens within, through how you perceive yourself, the value you place on your gifts, and the courage to accept that you deserve to prosper without apology or hesitation. This dynamic is not limited to the intellect alone. It is deeply shaped by the emotional quality you bring to your thoughts. If ideas are the seeds, emotions are the fertile soil that nurtures them into growth. Wattles emphasized the importance of cultivating an inner climate of trust, joy, and gratitude, because these states act like magnets, drawing in circumstances that mirror their resonance. Contemporary neuroscience affirms this truth, showing us that coherent emotional states expand perception, sharpen focus, and increase the capacity for wise decision-making. In daily life, nurturing inner wealth means tending to whatever fuels your inspiration. Read books that challenge your thinking, study with curiosity, make space for creative silence, and connect with people who share a desire for growth. Each gesture that expands your awareness creates new openings for opportunity. And as you begin to see yourself as capable of generating value, you naturally offer the world products, services, ideas, and relationships that carry that value forward, and life responds with returns that vibrate at the same frequency. It is essential to understand that prospering does not mean taking away what belongs to others. The universe does not operate on a zero-sum equation. Your expansion does not diminish the flow available to anyone else. In fact, when one person flourishes, they often open new pathways that allow others to thrive as well. This is the principle of creative interdependence. Abundance multiplies as it circulates, transforming into collective benefits. This perspective dissolves the limiting belief of either you or me, replacing it with the empowering truth of all of us together. Each step you take toward authentic wealth is a declaration of commitment to life itself. The desire to prosper is no longer seen as a shallow whim, but as a reverence for the gift of existence. Wattles insisted that no one fulfills their highest potential by remaining in scarcity. When you honor your right to prosper, you strengthen the invisible web that connects all consciousness and contribute to the unfolding of a more creative, liberated, and abundant world for everyone. The conscious choice to prosper. Prosperity is not a random event that happens by chance. It is a deliberate choice made again and again in the quiet space of your own consciousness. Wallace Wattles reminded us that every human being carries a silent but powerful ability to direct their thoughts either toward expansion or toward restriction. In the language of quantum physics, this ability resembles the act of the observer. By focusing attention on a single possibility, it collapses into tangible reality. Choosing to prosper, therefore, is not just a mental preference. It is a vibrational stance, a commitment to align your focus with life's natural impulse to grow and expand. Many people, however, find themselves trapped inside narratives they inherited without question. Money is dirty, success is only for a select few, or hard labor is the only path to survival. When repeated unconsciously, these ideas weave a dense fabric of frequencies that shape perception and limit what seems possible. Wattles urged his readers to dismantle these old beliefs and replace them with thoughts that honor abundance as a natural flow of life. This is not mere optimism. It is a neurological and energetic reorganization that unlocks new levels of creativity and access to solutions once hidden from view. But to choose prosperity also means taking responsibility for the quality of what you bring into the world. Authentic wealth is not built on exploitation, but on service, creativity in action, and a willingness to add value to the environment that sustains you. Whenever you notice a genuine need and choose to create something that fulfills it, you become an active link in the evolutionary chain of existence. Quantum physics reminds us that everything is interconnected. Thus, every contribution alters the field, opening pathways for new opportunities, both for yourself and for others who share the same web of life. A practical way to anchor this mindset is to keep a simple daily ritual. At the end of each day, write down 3 moments where you helped something flourish. A gesture of support, a creative solution, or even a word that inspired someone. This practice strengthens the recognition that wealth is movement, not merely a number in a bank account. It reminds you that every seed of value planted in the field of life will eventually return multiplied, because the universe is responsive to intentions that resonate with collective well-being. Another vital element is the cultivation of active patience. Prosperity rarely arrives in one dramatic leap. Instead, it reveals itself through layers of conscious choices that accumulate over time. Wattles often emphasized that we must act in a certain way, holding faith in the process while moving step by step with persistence. It is like navigating a long voyage guided by the stars. The distance may be vast, but the destination remains clear when the navigator trusts the direction. This steady constancy preserves the vibrational alignment that keeps the current of abundance flowing. When you claim your right to prosper without arrogance, without fear, you give living testimony to the quiet greatness that permeates the universe. This affirmation is not selfishness, but a celebration of life in its fullest expression. By living out your potential openly, you silently grant permission for others to do the same. You become walking evidence that abundance and spirituality are not opposites, but companions, harmoniously supported by science, by consciousness, and by gratitude. Prosperity and service, the invisible link. Wallace Wattles often reminded his readers that genuine prosperity does not emerge from ruthless competition, but from creative cooperation. When we begin to understand that life itself is a vast field of interconnected forces, we realize that personal growth does not take away from the collective, it expands it. Quantum physics offers a powerful metaphor here. Even particles separated by great distance maintain invisible correlations. In the same way, every thought and action aligned with abundance resonates across human networks, awakening new currents of opportunity, connection, and well-being. This principle dissolves the old notion that to become wealthy, someone else must lose. Wealth born from inspiration, creativity, and service does not strip resources away from others. It generates entirely new circuits of value. Consider an artist who turns raw emotion into a painting, or an entrepreneur who develops solutions that ease social struggles. Neither takes away from the world. Both carve new pathways where there was once stagnation. To prosper, in this sense, is to awaken dormant potential and channel it into streams of benefit that ripple far beyond the self. The practical way to embody this truth begins with a simple daily question. How can I bring beauty, clarity, or comfort to someone's experience today? This small shift moves the focus away from immediate personal gain and redirects it toward the creation of something that uplifts everyone involved. Wattles wrote that the right to be rich is inseparable from the duty to increase life for others. When we act from this perspective, we awaken the most noble dimension of ambition, the desire to contribute as we grow. Modern science confirms that systems built on cooperation tend to reach greater stability, creativity, and sustainability than those locked in endless competition. This pattern appears in ecosystems, in markets, and in human relationships. The more awareness we bring to our interactions, the greater the likelihood of generating abundance that lasts. Prosperity, then, is not merely the outcome of financial calculations. It is the natural consequence of relationships that honor dignity, respect growth, and encourage development for all. This understanding invites us to re-examine our everyday habits. What you consume, what you share, what you create, and even the words you speak either nourish or drain the field around you. Choosing to offer encouraging words, designing projects that uplift, investing time in studies that sharpen your gifts, all of these are acts of service. And this path is far from being less profitable. In fact, it often yields deeper rewards, a strong reputation, relationships built on trust, and opportunities that expand both material and spiritual horizons. When you weave prosperity and service together, you discover a joy unlike that found in superficial gain. It is a deeper contentment, born from the awareness that your journey contributes to the flourishing of others. That joy becomes fuel for perseverance, sustaining your momentum even through challenges. It creates a virtuous cycle. The more you dedicate yourself to expanding possibilities for others, the more the universe responds with resources, ideas, and aligned people who carry you further along the path of your purpose. The vibration of trust and the dissolution of fear. Wallace Wattles taught that the mind must rest in the certainty that life itself is abundant. Yet this rest is not passive resignation. It is an active vibration of trust that prevents fear from clouding the path forward. Quantum physics offers a parallel. Unstable systems oscillate with disorder until a coherent force brings them into alignment. The same occurs within us. When we cultivate serenity and clarity, we naturally draw higher orders of harmony into our projects, our relationships, and the unfolding of our lives. Fear, in many cases, is nothing more than an echo of collective memories of scarcity. It often disguises itself as caution or prudence. But in truth, it narrows our vision and restricts us from seeing opportunities. Wattles encouraged us to cultivate firm thoughts about the sufficiency of the universe, for a mind focused on lack projects realities of limitation. Observing our inner narratives and intentionally replacing them with affirmations of trust is a form of mental training, one that reshapes neural circuits and opens the way for more creative, life-affirming actions. A practical resource for this training is to keep nearby words or images that remind you of the universe's generosity. These can be passages from books, memories of personal victories, or even symbolic objects that carry meaning for you. Each time fear tries to take control, these anchors bring your awareness back to a wider, expansive perspective. Field physics shows us that even small perturbations can alter entire systems. In the same way, a single act of courage can redraw an entire landscape, opening new lines of probability. Trust, however, does not exclude planning. Wattles recommended pairing faith with clear strategies, defining goals, outlining steps, and observing outcomes with attentiveness. This combination generates a healthy rhythm between imagination and execution. On the quantum level, intention and action function as complementary pairs. One sets the direction, the other crystallizes the path. Without action, intention remains diffuse. Without intention, action loses its creative force. Together, they form the structure upon which prosperity grows. To sustain this state of confidence, dedicate daily moments to introspection. Take a deep breath, visualize yourself advancing toward your goals with lightness, and acknowledge that the very field of life supports you. This exercise strengthens an emotional frequency that neutralizes insecurity, keeping your mind receptive to innovative solutions. To prosper is, first of all, to guard your inner space from the noise that threatens your clarity, ensuring that your creative energy flows unobstructed. When you anchor yourself in trust, you release vast amounts of energy that would otherwise be drained by doubt and hesitation. This liberated energy can then be invested in opportunities, relationships, and ideas that generate authentic wealth. More than a concept, this trust becomes a lived sensation, a quiet strength in your chest, a steady clarity in your thoughts. It is within this state of calm assurance that wise choices emerge naturally, guiding you beyond the boundaries of fear and into the expansive territory of abundance. Gratitude, the frequency that opens pathways. Wallace Wattles emphasized that gratitude is the quiet foundation upon which true wealth blooms. Gratitude is not just polite behavior or social courtesy. It is an inner technology that reorganizes your vibration from within. Quantum physics suggests that observation infused with emotion influences the collapse of probabilities. In this sense, when you look at life through the lens of appreciation, you activate a frequency that magnetizes conditions resonant with that state of recognition and joy. Gratitude connects you directly to the creative flow because it dissolves the tension that binds the mind to lack. By recognizing what already exists, health, talents, lessons learned, friendships, small victories, you step out of the spectrum of scarcity and into the spectrum of sufficiency. This shift unlocks energy that had been trapped in worry, making it available for new ideas, encounters, and opportunities. Wattles described this process as an invisible engine quietly fueling the creative mind and keeping it alive. In practice, cultivating gratitude can be as simple as keeping a journal. Before sleep, write down 3 moments from the day for which you feel deeply thankful. They might be gestures of kindness, a beautiful landscape, or even an intuition that helped you choose wisely. Over time, this ritual builds a vibrational record, an inner testimony that the universe is constantly sustaining you in countless ways. Neuroscience confirms that repeating this exercise strengthens brain circuits related to well-being, resilience, and a sense of meaningful purpose. The gratitude also expands your perception of available resources. When you acknowledge what you already have, you train your awareness to notice details that would otherwise vanish in the rush of daily life. It is like adjusting the focus of a camera lens. Suddenly, patterns come into view. Opportunities for collaboration, creative solutions, or subtle signals of support that were hidden before. This heightened sensitivity is essential for turning possibilities into tangible results, for the quantum field responds directly to the quality of your attention. It is important to remember that gratitude does not mean resigning yourself to situations that require change. Wattles taught that we should give thanks for what we have, while at the same time holding a clear vision of what we wish to create. This posture blends acceptance with expansion. You honor the present moment without surrendering your right to move forward. Such balance keeps your frequency elevated and prevents desire from slipping into anxiety or toxic dissatisfaction. Through the practice of gratitude, you come to understand that prosperity is not about mechanical accumulation, but about living in harmony with a greater movement of generosity that flows through all life. This state inspires wiser decisions because it arises from a serene heart rather than restless striving. With every expression of genuine recognition, you strengthen a circuit of abundance that not only enriches your own path, but also radiates benefits to all those who cross it. The clarity of intention and the creative focus. Wallace Wattles affirmed that to truly prosper, one must define with precision what is desired. A scattered mind sends contradictory signals into the field of possibilities, while a focused mind functions like a laser, gathering and directing creative forces toward a single point. In the language of quantum physics, a clear intention acts as a vector, shaping the collapse of probabilities into reality. When you unite purpose with steady attention, you generate a beam of coherence strong enough to orient circumstances and attract resources aligned with your vision. Clarity, however, does not mean rigidity. It means firmness of direction with openness to flow. Imagine a captain at sea. He adjusts the sails when the winds shift, but he never loses sight of the destination on the horizon. Your relationship with goals should work the same way. They provide coordinates that guide you, yet they also allow room for life to reveal wiser routes. Wattles emphasized that we must hold the vision of what we want with conviction, while simultaneously trusting the process that carries us toward it. A practical exercise is to write your goals with specificity, but always infuse them with meaning beyond material accumulation. Instead of listing objects or amounts of money, describe how these achievements will expand your capacity to serve, to create, to share. This approach anchors prosperity in the greater good, making the desire more stable and less vulnerable to distraction. It is like giving gravitational weight to your intention, so that other ideas naturally orbit around its pull. Clarity also helps discipline your inner dialogue. Contradictory thoughts scatter the very energy that should be sustaining your projects. When you notice doubt or discouraging phrases rising within, update them with positive affirmations. I am capable of finding solutions, or the universe supports my growth when I act with integrity. This continual practice rewires neural pathways and stabilizes the vibrational pattern needed for flourishing. Over time, your inner voice shifts from sabotage to support, becoming an ally on your path. It is equally important to recognize that intention without action remains an abstraction. Wattles urged that we must act each day with efficiency, as though we are already the person capable of receiving what we seek. This posture installs the desired reality into the present moment, much like tuning into the correct radio station before the melody begins to play. In quantum terms, this coherence between vision and action creates resonance, an energetic harmony that naturally attracts the elements required to complete the picture. When you sustain creative focus, you discover that the universe itself appears to cooperate with your clarity. Circumstances begin to reorganize, doors open, and synchronicities align for those who know what they want and walk with courage and integrity. This experience of flow is not coincidence. It is the natural response to deep internal alignment. Clarity, therefore, is not merely a mental strategy. It is a vibrational order, an invisible architecture that sustains your right to prosper. Closing and invitation to the ongoing journey. We now arrive at the moment of weaving everything we've explored into a single thread. Wallace Wattles, when speaking of the right to prosper, pointed toward an eternal principle. Life itself longs to grow through you. Quantum physics mirrors this truth, revealing that each particle responds to a greater field of influence. In the same way, when your consciousness becomes clear, open, and receptive, It serves as a channel through which the universe's abundance flows into form. Prosperity is not a privilege reserved for a select few, but the rightful expression of the creative intelligence that pulses endlessly in every direction. Look back for a moment at the patterns we have traced together. Trust that dissolves fear, gratitude that opens pathways, intention that focuses, and action that solidifies potential. Each of these elements forms part of a living mosaic, one that transforms desire into tangible reality. Wattles' invitation was never about accumulation for its own sake. It was about living in a state of lucid expansion, allowing your talents, your ideas, and your generosity to become gateways to new horizons of possibility. Now bring this reflection into your everyday life. Choose one gesture today that embodies your commitment to abundance. It may be reopening a project left dormant, expressing gratitude to someone who has supported you, or beginning a study that strengthens your abilities. Such concrete actions seal what has been absorbed intellectually, sending a signal of readiness into the quantum field. Prosperity begins invisibly in thought and vibration, but it is confirmed through the choices and steps that honor your right to flourish. Remember, too, that prosperity is not a fixed destination, but a continuous journey. At every stage, new lessons will emerge and new adjustments will be needed, yet the principle remains the same. Life delights in expanding through those who welcome its creative impulse. Your task is to keep your mind open, your heart generous, and your discipline steady, so that each step carries you forward into greater alignment with the flow of abundance. If this message has brought you inspiration, I invite you to like this video and subscribe to the channel Dazzle of Dawn. This act may seem small, yet it is more than technical support. It is a vibrational gesture, strengthening a network of consciousness dedicated to positive transformation. By sharing this content, you help radiate knowledge and hope, multiplying its benefits far beyond your immediate circle. Together, we participate in creating a more prosperous collective field. Finally, hold close the truth that your right to prosper is inseparable from the responsibility to cultivate wisdom and generosity. When your achievements reflect integrity and service, they become bridges that allow others to recognize their own creative power. May Wattles' words echo as a silent reminder. Abundance is already here, waiting only for your permission to become a living experience. Walk forward with confidence. The universe celebrates each step you take toward your full flowering. And so, see you in the next video, with more information on everything that involves growing, evolving, transforming, and manifesting. See you soon.